Welcome back to another episode of Street Switch Photography. On this horrible wet Wednesday afternoon, I thought I'd do a quick video on the worst Prime Minister I've ever known over here on GB News. If you want to go and leave a comment, you can leave a comment just here in the chat part. I'm just going to set that to live whilst I do the intro. See you in a minute. Roll that intro. So welcome back to another episode of Street Switch Photography. This afternoon I've actually spotted this on GB News, the worst Prime Minister I've ever known. Now there's a little bit of a surprise in this video. If you look in the background of when they start to interview Robert Jenrick, just see what happens, because it made my day. A bunch of lefties turn up, that's all I'm going to tell you, and a couple of, let's just say, well-known TV stars from the past.
Number 10 has insisted that the Prime Minister will fight off any attempt to remove him as leader.
Well, in a bid to shore up the Prime...
He couldn't fight his way out of a fucking paper bag. We're talking about Keir Starmer here, not bloody, what's his name, Frank Bruno or fucking any of the...
position, Downing Street warned that any plot against his leadership could risk unsettling the markets.
Allies of Sir Keir have accused cabinet ministers when...
Keir Starmer's resignation could risk unsettling the markets, apparently. Do you think people actually give a shit? They just want rid of the bloke. He is the most hated bloke in Great Britain. He is the worst Prime Minister Great Britain has ever seen in its history. I don't think he'll last until Christmas. What do you reckon? Leave a comment.
Streeting of conspiring against him. He's denying that this morning.
No, and I think whoever's been briefing this has been watching too much Celebrity Traitors, and this is just about the worst attack on a faithful I've seen since Joe Marler was kicked out and banished in the final.
How can you even make that fucking comparison when the BBC or ITV or none of the other mainstream media can even be flaming trusted? Proven over the past 3 to 4 days after what they did to Donald Trump at the BBC.
It's totally self-defeating briefing, not least because it's not true. And I don't understand how anyone thinks it's helpful to the Prime Minister either to suggest he's fighting for his job at a time when, last time I saw him on Monday evenings, talk about violence against women and girls and how we tackle it.
Yeah, just get that in there on how we tackle it. I wonder what the next line will be. Well, it's trying to make the country better.
He's fighting for the country and trying to turn it around.
So that's Health Secretary Wes Streeting making light of those rumours this morning on the media round. We were hoping to have him on the media round, and we were hoping to have him on GB News Breakfast this morning, weren't we?
Well, as soon as we are the #1 news channel, get more viewers than any other news channel in the morning.
Why would that be? Why do you get more views than most other, like, news channels, like, I don't know, the BBC, maybe? The BBC and mainstream media, now, don't get me wrong, GB News are mainstream, but they just don't play by the same rules as the other mainstream medias do, because obviously the other mainstream medias are controlled by government, so they can basically tell them what to say and stuff. People are woken up, and I tell you what, and I'm in such a good mood today because I'm starting to realise that the massive and mass wake-up of Great Britain is actually happening, and it's happening right before our very eyes. All these lefties are literally blowing their minds with this. They don't understand it.
Thanks.
It would have been nice to have spoken to him, but we were told that he didn't have time to speak to GB News Breakfast.
Can't squeeze us in. Thankfully, the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick, can squeeze us in, and he joins us now. Good morning to you. I'll put to you what I put to...
Wait for it. This bit's funny.
Good morning. Cooper.
Can you see the Brexit sign behind him?
And you have to excuse the... You have to excuse the clowns I have behind me. It's not David Lammy this time, it's even worse.
Oh no.
OK, well, I can't quite see what they're saying, but I look forward to reading those placards. Is this a government in freefall?
Well, it's end of day stuff, isn't it? You've got the most unpopular Prime Minister ever. You've got the most unpopular Chancellor since record...
Sooty and sweep! Where's Matthew? If you stuck a moustache on him, he'd look like Matthew a bit, wouldn't he?
Records began, who's about to break the manifesto commitment and increase income tax in her budget in a couple of weeks' time. The country is basically going to pot at the moment, with NHS on strike, open borders, prisoners being released, and yet this weak and paranoid.
The reason they're releasing the prisoners, I believe, and this may be a conspiracy theory, is to turn around and basically say, well, we should have implemented the digital ID. But no one's falling for it, Starmer. No one's falling for your bullshit. Everything, and I mean everything that comes out of the man's mouth is verbal diarrhea.
Prime Minister is now turning on his own cabinet and machine gunning his own ministers. It's a total mess. He just needs to get back to his day job and actually try and fix this country.
So you do want to see the Prime Minister remain in his post? You don't want to see him replaced by anybody else? I mean, names that have been put forward in the papers are, of course...
The problem is, if the Prime Minister was replaced, who would he be replaced with? Can we get worse than Keir Starmer? Yes, we can. We could replace Keir Starmer with, let's just say, David Lammy, for instance. The thickest man alive. The dumbest man alive. Literally. I mean literally. He is as thick as pig shit, that bloke is. And he's in charge of the justice system. What the actual hell? What state has Great Britain got itself into? But I've got to admit, right, when let's just say we know Reform are going to win the next election, and there's a good chance the Green Party may be the opposition. That's going to be interesting. Zach Polanski, who says a duck. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But a woman can have a penis. Do you see the problem there? Do you see the problem that this is the guy that thinks he's going to go over to Russia and tell Putin to disarm all his nuclear weapons? Fucking cuckoo. The bloke's a complete and utter fruitcake. This bloke's a Brussels sprout short of a Sunday dinner, a sandwich short of a picnic, a can short of a flaming six-pack. And that could be the opposition. Nigel Farage will tear him a new one. But it will be funny. It will be funny.
Denied those rumours, and also Shabana Mahmood.
Mahmood.
Well, look, it's not up to me to decide who the Labour Party have as their
Sooty and
leader.
sweet.
But I will say that Keir Starmer is one, if not the worst Prime Minister I've ever known. He's got no plan. He can't command authority in Parliament. The public are sick of him. And everything feels like it's a mess at the moment out there in the country. The public, they're looking on this absolutely aghast. They just want...
Now, leave a comment. What do you think to Robert Jenrick? Do you think he should join Reform? Do you think he'd make a good Reform candidate or a good Reform MP? Because we seem to be getting a lot of the Conservative Party joining Reform, don't we? Is Reform just going to become two cheeks of the same arse as the Tories? That is what I'm worried about. That is what I'm worried about. And we've got Advance UK storming the polls as well. So what's actually going to happen? We are living through some extremely interesting times. I know that much.
Want the government to get a grip of the challenges that the country is facing at the moment. Instead, it's like a circular firing squad, rats in a sack, fighting. Get back to the day job and run this country properly.
Sooty and Sweet could do a better job at running the fucking country than Keir Starmer and his cronies. Come on, let's be completely and utterly honest. I mean, we've got David Lammy, who basically lets prisoners just run free accidentally on purpose and hasn't got a clue what he's bleeding doing. This bloke is an absolute sodding clown, along with Keir Starmer, who's just nothing but a Nazi Stasi arsehole. And I mean, the rest of it, that Yvette Cooper with Mr. Ball, who's on the ITV, what's it called, on the morning ITV show and everything else. I mean, it's just a massive joke. This country is a massive joke. If I sort of was in two minds, I'd be embarrassed about what this country and the way it treats people, the way it treats its own people, when it goes putting illegal migrants ahead of its own soldiers. That's how far we've actually managed to come over the past 3 to 4 years with an LGBTQ ideology that is infiltrating schools and infiltrating our children's minds to dumb them down because they're the future voters of this country. Now, if you're a good parent, you won't let this happen, and you'll sort of realise and be able to see straight through it, and you're capable of critical thinking. But the most important thing is to look at people like this that we have running the country and just fucking laugh at them. I mean, come on. They are the biggest joke that this country has ever seen. They are an embarrassment, an absolute bloody embarrassment. And when all this is over with, I want to see people like Sadiq Khan. I want to see people like Keir Starmer, Lammy, all go to prison. I want to see them behind bars for what they have done to this country, because it's absolutely disgusting. If you're proud to be British and you say you're patriotic and you went out on Sunday for Remembrance Day and you wore that poppy with pride because you know what our forefathers fought for in the First and the Second World War so we can have the freedoms that we have today, then the soldiers would have turned their back on that twat Keir Starmer and basically not let that idiot lay a wreath. That was an absolute insult to the British Army and what their men stood for. We've got ex-veterans in their hundreds basically saying what they fought for doesn't matter anymore because of what Keir Starmer has done. It's vile. It's disgusting. It makes me sick.
Cooper this morning. I know there was. I saw a tweet from Kemi Badenoch this morning saying, the Lib Dems have adopted some conservative policies. They're all backing some of your policies, and they were calling for Labour to.
Labour like to adopt any policy that's going to try and get them a bit further up polls. Do you think there's any chance of them actually, winning the next election? All these places that are under Labour control, or mostly Labour control, we've got Labour going bust, have all got problems with grooming gangs, we've got problems with immigration, we've got problems with the cost of living. When you stood in town, you get called a bigot because these idiots have been brainwashed and they can't admit to it. You ask them simple questions and they can't answer it because they're too scared to ask the question. The most important question that would stump anybody that is of a far left ideology. Why? One simple word. Why? And they cannot bloody answer you. The amount of bullshit they come out with is beyond recognition. Any sort of backup plan they had or anything is just gone completely out the window with this government. They are nothing but a bloody circus.
To do the same. What about the Lib Dems policy saying actually this budget should reduce VAT by 5%?
I mean, how does somebody like Zach Polansky, David Lammy even get into government? Surely they'd have had to have passed some sort of exam. Zach Polansky, who believes you can hypnotise a woman and make her believe her breasts, that'll make her breasts grow bigger. The same bloke that thinks he's going to ask Putin to disarm. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. You think you are fucking Trump?
5% on, entertainment venues, pubs, restaurants, all that sort of thing to boost the economy.
Big Tech has turned your phone into a surveillance device, harvesting your data, tracking your location, and selling your information to corporations.
That actually looks like a pretty decent phone, to be honest. But you can actually upload that operating system for free from the XDA developers site over on XDA developers. Let's get past this advert. That played itself back, did.
Real mess at the moment. What we've said as Conservatives is that we want to get rid of business rates for businesses with rateable values of 100.
So if you look at the sign at the back that this absolute idiot is holding, it's basically saying that Reform are going to get rid of the NHS when they've already admitted they are not getting rid of the NHS. They've already admitted to that. They're not getting rid of the NHS. That's crap.
£100,000 or less, and that means almost all of the cafes, the restaurants, the independent shops on our high streets wouldn't have to pay those, and that would make a massive difference right now because, as you see, high street shops and pubs are closing left, right and centre. That, I think, is the best thing that we could do to give them a shot in the arm, really help them to get through the difficult months ahead.
So I just thought I'd show you this video because Sooty and Sweet basically came into it. That's taking the piss to a massive level, that is, out of the Conservatives and out of Labour. And you've got basically the Conservatives taking the piss out of Labour and these two blokes taking the piss out of both of them behind them with Sooty and Sweep and the elephant. And I just thought it made for a good video. I thought it was quite amusing. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit that notification bell. And I will see you in the next video. Roll the outro. Bye for now.
Let me in, yeah.